Welcome back. Let's move further afield now. And the Democratic Republic of Congo has postponed Sunday's watershed presidential elections in 3 cities. The country's electoral commission is blaming violence and Ebola, the Ebola outbreak, for the delay. Now, the affected cities are Bene, M'poko and Yumbi. For more on this, we're joined by the DRC Ambassador, Bene M'poko. Ambassador M'poko, thank you very much for your time. I think just as a way of confirmation, confirm for us if indeed some parts of the DRC will not participate in Sunday's watershed elections.
Yes, not just some parts of DRC. There are those 3 cities that you mentioned, which have been hit both by Ebola as well as the armed groups. You see, when you have Ebola, you had to stop the movement of people. A lot of people had to be in the quarantine. You cannot put people in quarantine and at the same time ask them to go to vote. That's one. 2, our intelligence services are telling us that armed groups are also targeting that area. When people are lined up to vote, they become a real target for the armed groups, so they become victims. So in order to save human lives, we thought we can delay the elections. The Electoral Commission had decided to delay the election in those 2 areas because we think human lives, saving human rights, more important than just allowing people to go to vote. We as a government, we cannot stop being a state. The role of a state is to protect its citizens. People probably don't know that as far as we are concerned, that's our biggest electorate. There are more people in that area to vote than even in Kinshasa. So it's a big sacrifice in terms of the electorate. But we think that the human lives are more important than just having elections.
Talk to us about the elections then in these 3 cities. So they are delayed until when?
According to the Electoral Commission, and according to the report from the Ministry of Health and the Security Services and the health sector, they think that the Ebola will be under control only in March, that they don't see the Ebola being brought under control before that. So the Electoral Commission is targeting, if the election had to take place later on, it will not be before March 2019.
All right. Let's talk about the security situation, because Ebola is one reason that's being used here, and there's also the issue of violence. Isn't that a reflection on the government of President Joseph Kabila?
No, you cannot reflect that kind of thing, just like saying you have some criminal element in South Africa, therefore you're going to blame the government. The Ebola, how can you blame Ebola in one person?
No,
you cannot control Ebola. If Ebola were to hit South Africa today, I don't think you blame one person. It's because of him.
I'm talking about the security situation.
When you have Ebola, you guys have no experience Ebola, so you don't know what we're talking about. When you have Ebola, you have to stop the movement of people, because Ebola can be, just a simple contact. You can become victim of Ebola. So what we are saying is that the movement of people in that area has to be contained to protect them. We have had about 300 deaths, more than 300 deaths already, and the number is about to rise. So the measure has been taken in order to protect human lives. So I don't see how you can say that you blame the president because this place, the area has been hit by Ebola. And when people are lined to vote, the armed groups, they are not even Congolese. If you've been following the situation in DRC, you know who is funding those armed groups. You know where they are coming from. You as a journalist, you should know that. So I don't see how you can blame that into the president of the country. The rest of the country is fine. Congo is the size of whole Western Europe. You guys know exactly why Congo has been targeted for instability. It's all known because of our resources. The people want to loot the resources in Congo,
Allow me to pose this question to you.
Destabilize Congo so we can continue to loot the resource. You know that you're a journalist.
Ambassador
so I don't
M'poko.
see how you can blame one person who has brought peace and stability in this country because one area is still having some problems, and you blame it in the president. I think that's not a fair assessment of what's going on in the DRC.
Ambassador M'poko, if you allow me to again pose my question to you. The question is around the security situation. I've said to you, you mentioned two reasons why this election is being postponed in these three cities. So the other element here you said was the issue of violence, and you also said that it is government's responsibility to make sure that its citizens are protected. And therefore, I'm saying to you, is that not a reflection on the government of Joseph Kabila that there is this issue of violence, because people have actually died as a result of violence in the lead up to this election?
What I'm saying is this. These armed groups which have been roaming around for a while, which we have been fighting them. Even South African troops or in the Eastern Congo, SADC troops are there to help us to fight those armed groups. They are using guerrilla warfare. They are using a very unconditional way to cause instability, and that has been known for a long time. So we, as a SADC, we as a Congolese, we are fighting those guys. The rest of the country is stable, is peaceful, but that particular area, we still have issues with these armed groups. So what I'm saying is that when you have an Ebola pandemic coupled with these armed groups that are targeting that particular area because people are vulnerable because of Ebola, you cannot move freely in that area when you're military, you're a soldier, and so forth. You cannot move freely in that area because of Ebola. Okay, so because people are vulnerable, the armed groups are also targeting them.
Ambassador M'poko.
So it's a double thing we're talking about here. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
All right, Ambassador M'poko, unfortunately we are out of time, but I have to pose this final question to you, and please could you give me a quick response to it. How is the Electoral Commission responding to the opposition politicians who are calling for a manual count of this particular election as opposed to the electronic system because they simply don't trust it? Are you aware of these developments?
No, you're behind, and I guess you're not following what's going on. All the opposition have not accepted the so-called voting machine. They are not actually voting machine. They are just a printer. They print you the ballot vote. When you identify your candidate, you push on the button, the machine gives you the ballot vote with a picture of your candidate, and you put it in the ballot vote. It's just a printer. And all of them are going to elections on Sunday, and they have accepted that. So I think you need to update your information. The opposition people are no longer opposed to their machine.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. That was the DRC Ambassador to South Africa.